Thank you so much, Jess, for joining me today. So, my guests who are watching today, if you don't know me, I am Megan Savill, the Business Confidante, and I work with business leaders and owners in the disability sector, all about amplifying the impact for their clients, whilst also creating, yes, increased wealth in their business. But it's all about that beautiful fulfillment piece. And today I am introducing to you Jess Lane, who is the CEO of a beautiful organisation here local to the Fraser Coast, and that's Life Choice. So thank you so much, Jess, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. My pleasure.
My absolute joy having you here. I would love for you to share just a few words about Life Choice, a bit about the history and connection to the local community, which I understand is very special and very unique, but also too about the clients you serve and the services that you provide.
Yeah, so Life Choice is pretty unique in that we were started by families, for families across the Fraser Coast, and we've been serving the community for over 20 years, and we're really proud of that. Something else that sets us apart from some of the other providers is that we're a registered charity and non-for-profit. And so what that means is that there's no one person who sets to benefit from our business and the way that we do things. Our success is your success, not somebody else's beach house or penthouse. And so we're really proud of the fact that, when we have a great month or we have a great year, it means that any surplus we've got, we can invest in and on participants who choose us for business. And that feels really good. It feels good to do good.
Oh,
Uh, yeah,
definitely.
we love it. And in terms of who do we support? So we are blessed to serve people with a disability across the Fraser Coast, and so that might mean that we provide perhaps allied health services or support coordination, accommodation support, or some community access support. Really, for us, we're able to provide a one-stop shop, and we're able to provide
Yeah.
lifetime supports, which we're really proud of. And so, we'll often have little people come in, and they might be 4 or 5 or 6 with their first NDIS plan, and we can support them through their schooling years, transition to adulthood, and all the way through the aging process. And we love being able to be a part of somebody's life for that long, and we certainly have been. Some of the people we support, we've supported for all 20 years, and that's pretty special too.
Oh, sorry, I just got like, I refer to them as spirit chills, like you've been
Yeah.
around me for a while now, so you understand. I've literally got goosebumps head to toe because what lights me up is serving others for that deeper impact, you know that. And just to hear that Life Choice has literally been there for the little kiddos, supporting through school and then positioning them into meaningful contribution to community, like into employment, that is just yeah, like if that's not transformational change for your clients, I don't know what is. Yeah. And to hear that every dollar of profit is invested back into your clients because of your not-for-profit model. Yeah, that's such beautiful work. So thank you so much for the share. And knowing that the range of services, and personally, I wish I knew you guys were around a number of years ago when Sophie, my daughter, was first diagnosed, because having that one-stop shop focus, that so deeply invested in each client and provide that range of allied health therapies and yeah, that very unique positioning here at the Fraser Coast.
And it means we can solve problems for families and individuals quickly.
Yeah,
For us to be able to go, oh, it sounds like you need an exercise physiologist. Come with me down the hall and I'll introduce you to our
yeah,
exercise physiologist now. Being able
yeah.
to solve problems quickly for families, we find really, really pivotal in what we do. Often
Yep.
by the time people reach out for support, they're done waiting. The waiting period has already been and gone in their life, and they're
Yeah.
ready to take action now, which
Yeah.
means we're able to support that rather than saying, yeah, I'll pop you on the waiting list or call this
Oh,
person and hop on their waiting list. We're able
yes.
to go, yep, it sounds like you want to solve the problem today. Come on, let's do that.
It is about the speed of helping people who are ready. And yeah, that is just such great work. But Jess, when you first came to me around, well, it was about 3 weeks ago. So, like, it's only 3 weeks, but time flies and so much has happened in that time. But I'd like you to share, if you don't mind, as to where personally you are at, but also where Life Choice was at when you first reached out.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Look, probably at the 4 week ago mark, I was spurred into action because we knew that we had a strategic plan period that was expiring, and we knew that we really needed to take action. An organization without a strategic plan and goals is doing nothing nowhere. And so that certainly wasn't the approach that I wanted to start 2025 with, and for the board as well. They knew we needed to do something and take some pretty significant action. I've been following you, Megan, and your business accounts for some time, and had been sussing you out and watching your development into the disability space. And for me, that was the trust building period. You didn't know it, but we knew it, that we were checking you out and seeing if our values aligned. So at that point, started reaching out to some professionals across the Fraser Coast that might be able to help us with our strategic planning. We have a really deep value that we shop local where we can. And so it was important that we engage somebody who knew the local landscape, who knew the local market, and who knew our region and our demographic and some of the, economical challenges we face across the
Yeah.
Fraser Coast. And so, after a bit of chatter with a few people, it was very clear very quickly that you were the best option for us. One thing that really rang true in terms of our selection criteria was your lived experience and your transparency in your journey with Sophie as well. And so we're so gracious that you continue to share that, because for us, our leadership team is made up of people who have lived experience and who have family members with a disability or a disability themselves. Our board is made up of a number of people with a disability. And so the fact that you're able to share that same lived experience value that we already hold really true meant that you ticked our local provider box, you ticked our lived experience box, and the fact that you're just vivacious and a bit of a dynamo made you a great choice.
Thank
Um,
you. Oh, thank you
yeah,
so
we knew
much for
we
the
needed
open
motivation
share.
and we needed a bit of
Yeah.
pizzazz, and you've been able to bring that in every interaction. So that's made us feel even more confident in our choice.
Oh, sorry, I'm just so grateful for the open share. Like my heart is like so full at the moment. The lived experience piece is actually something that is downplayed so often, and people have difficulty speaking about their truth. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
and like I own that. I'm authentically me, and my lived experience with Sophie, supporting her through her disability, my lived experience, with ADD, PTSD, it's all there, and it just adds so much value. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you've just explained so beautifully, those rules of attraction that like attracts like. And I remember our interactions, like initially in the DMs, it was that instant, yeah, okay, this feels good. And when we met in person, it was just so light and bright. And if people can't see that here now, like there is a vibe. And working with you guys is just so fun and light and bright. And oh, it's just so good. So good. Okay. So we're kind of covered off as to where Life Choice was and where you personally
yeah,
were also CEO of the organization when you first reached out. And very beautifully, you've explained why you reached out to me specifically. Thank you so very much. Now, as mentioned, we've been working together less than a month. Yeah. And you yourself are yet to actually have your 1 day VIP intensive, which I am thrilled to be offering you in a fortnight's time.
yeah.
But in that short time, you've already made, and Life Choice have already made some massive big moves. Would you like to share a little about those?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be thrilled too, because I'm so proud of the work that we've done. It has been
Yes.
a wild 3 weeks, don't get me wrong, but through engaging Megan, probably the thing that has attracted the team the most and been able to motivate us has been the energy that you've brought to the conversation. For the most part, business leaders know really what they should do or have an idea on what they need to do. It's just the doing and the motivation and some of that values digging that we really needed to dip into. We know we want to do this, we know we should do this, but we needed to tap into what's the driving force, what's the thing that's motivating us to do it, and then tune into that. And so, one of the really big pieces of work that we've done with you is actually to find out and then nail down on what are our values, because that's the core of everything that we
Mhm.
do. By being able to outline our five primary values through stakeholder engagement with participants, staff, leaders, stakeholders, their wider community engagement, that set us on a really strong path for what we're going to do for the next 3 years. Now we've
Yes.
got those values. We've been able to get our first draft of our strategic plan down. We've been able to present that to leaders and managers. And, to do all that in 3 weeks is phenomenal. We had a
Yes.
strategic planning, right? We had a
Yes.
strategic planning day with our board. We've managed to do our stakeholder engagement through all of our stakeholders and wider community. We've been able to do a presentation to our leadership team on what it is that's in front of us. We've been able to nail down our five values and start that communication and sharing on a wide platform. And we got to eat and sleep. How do we fit that in? I don't know, but the energy and motivation is there. We're doing it.
Oh, that is amazing. And what I just want to reiterate here is that yes, it's been done with speed, yeah. But not only has it been done with speed, it's been done right. Yep, there's been no shortcuts. There's been amazing engagement and communication with all your
Yeah.
stakeholders. And I just want to credit the pre-work that you've done for that, leading up to that meeting with the board. What that allowed, that pre-paving, is that when the board met and like I facilitated that workshop, if you remember, nutting out those values, that five key organizational values, like that's something that could be done traditionally over days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We nailed that in a few moments. Yeah. Like I think it was less in total than 5 minutes. Yeah.
It really didn't take us very
Oh,
long. And
no.
like you said, the pre-work being done meant also too that we were able to make sure all of the right voices were heard in the lead up.
Yes.
You know, we talk about, authentic leadership and we talk about lived experience. And so a huge part of that is acknowledging that the experts in our business are the people with disability at the core of it. So for us to be able to do all that engagement and grab all of that in advance meant that by the time we were working with you, you were just helping us through, I call it the teenage phase, but do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's that awkward, what do we do next? We know we've got the goal, it's here in our hands, but
Yeah.
how do we turn it into something? And
Yeah.
you, in half a day, you got
Yeah.
us there. We turned it into something, and so now we're good again. We're off on our
Yeah.
way.
Okay, so literally in a few weeks, less than a month, around 3 weeks, we have now got a pretty good final draft of your strategic plan that has actually gone through the rigmarole of the engagement, the communication with all your stakeholders. And at the core of that strategic plan are your beautiful five values, which during that workshop with them unearthed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I understand you've recently hit your senior leadership team with that draft strategy and the conversation about, my business model is all about the aligned to succeed. How did that go? How did that go down? How did it hit with the team?
It was just yesterday, so I'm still a bit buzzed about it, to be honest with you. I think probably one of the most important moments when I'm watching their reactions is seeing their ideas and their voices said back to them, because when people feel heard, they feel validated, they feel included, and for them that means their leadership is working, it's being valued in a really purposeful way. Other organizations would do a strategic plan offsite with somebody else and just have it issued to an organization, but this was built from within. And so for these guys to be able to go, yeah, we wrote that, or that was my word, or oh, hold
Yes.
on, I'm so glad that something I said was added here or considered here, so that the glow and the beam from these guys around, oh, that was ours or that's mine, was really, really cool, really
Oh,
phenomenal.
yeah, beautiful. Because as you say, and I refer it as the normie way, like the
Yeah.
normal standard is engage a consultant. Yeah, okay, just do a little bit of, token, tick the box engagement, punch out a plan, and it sits on the shelf and there's very little ownership. But you've heard your employees and your stakeholders, your clients. Yep. And following that workshop, now their feedback is now in the plan. So they see their words, they see their thoughts. And so there's complete ownership throughout. Congratulations.
Yeah, and the thing is that because there's that complete ownership there, there's that aligned values that we keep talking
Yes.
about that's
Yeah.
deep in there, but it also means that they're able to embrace it with enthusiasm and motivation because it's their work. People are more
Mm.
likely to embrace things where they see themselves reflected in it. If it's issued to them, they'll do it because they're told to, but they
Yeah.
won't may not do it with love, I suppose. Whereas this, they love. I can say hand over heart, they love what's in front of them, and so do I.
Oh, and this speaks so much to the cultural transformation, like the beginning of that journey for you. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can hear already there's this turning point in the vibe of the workforce. And you will see in the days, weeks, months, years to come how that will just trickle through right down to front line into the clients' lives and the people that surround them too. So, yeah, very
Agreed. I can't
excited.
wait to see the flow and effect.
Ah, the ripple effect, that's what gets me. It's that
Yeah.
impact. Yeah, wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Jess, for sharing about some of your big moves and wins. I, there's just so much going on within such a short period of time. But as I said, you're doing it so beautifully well. So there's no shortcuts. And
And
that really does need to be commended.
thanks. Do you know,
Yeah,
like the sector's in such disarray at the moment. We've got
yeah,
new legislation dropped. We've got new legislation on the way. We've got a reform.
yeah,
It's such disarray at the moment. And so many of my peers in other organizations I see, they're having a really negative time at the moment. And I
yes.
just can't relate because we're having a great time at the moment. And
Exactly.
I
Yeah,
just think, so much of that is attributed to the fact that we're working on a values base day to day.
yeah,
Our values are solid. We share the values and we're just striding forwards. Yep, there's stuff happening around us and we'll acknowledge it and we'll respond when necessary. But
yeah.
yeah, I just can't relate with other providers and
Yeah,
other leaders that are having a terrible time because
yeah.
we're not. We're doing great
Oh,
stuff and it feels good to do good.
and thank you for highlighting that because, yes, the amount of reform and legislative change in the sector, like everyone knows about it. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's just so much angst and concern and oh, if again, like I work with people like you who actually see the opportunity and the challenge. Yeah, there's always opportunity. And if you tap into that, really, it's just limitless what business can do in the disability space. So yeah, you're definitely flying that flag very high. So yeah,
In
congratulations.
Life Choice and I have been in the sector a long
Yeah.
time. So yeah, this is a reform, but we were around since before the NDIS existed. We
Yeah,
were around
well,
in a
truly.
deinstitutionalization period. We were down, it was
Yes.
block funded or state funded.
Yeah.
So I think that's something else that kind of attests to our strength is that we've weathered the storm before.
Yeah.
Yep, this is another storm, but it's a bad storm, but we've weathered the storm before. We've got strong foundations. Yeah,
Yeah. Very strong foundations that have now been made even further concrete by those beautiful organizational values and aligned to succeed.
agreed,
Wonderful.
agreed.
Wonderful. So I ask you, Jess, like there's been a lot of vibe and a lot of fun, almost like a mini party here in this video. Thank
Yeah.
you. uh, for those that may be watching out there in this audience, who may be like that lurker in the shadows like you were about a month ago,
Yes.
who are wondering, oh, I'm feeling the pull. What would be your advice regarding asking for help and potentially even asking for help from me?
Yeah, look, my advice is just pretty simple, and that is just start a conversation and you'll be able to tell. Uh,
Yeah.
because for me, that was it. As soon as I reached out, your response very clearly told me very quickly the future that was in front of us. There was no ifs or buts. So many questions didn't even arise because there were no questions to be asked. It was clear and I knew what the path in front of us. I know that I talk about that I sat in the shadows and I was a lurker, as you might say, for a little while. But the lurking is important for sussing people
Yes,
out, making sure values align. Absolutely, don't get me wrong. But
definitely.
starting that conversation is what cemented it for me.
Yeah.
There are a lot of people out there, and I lurk on them too, who are all show or all talk, but the connection with you made it clear to me that you certainly aren't all show and you certainly aren't all talk. it's real and it feels real. And yeah,
Oh,
that's my advice. Reach out, just start a conversation.
thank you so much, Jess. And yes, if you are keen to make a conversation, it's just a matter of connecting me with me over LinkedIn, Facebook, or Instagram. You can search me under Megan Savill. So that's an Megan Savill, SAV for Victor ILL. And yeah, by all means, send me a DM and we can have a chat. But Jess, for those, because a lot of people in my audience are carers, guardians, parents of those with disability, mums and dads like me. For those who are seeking that help, the assistance, the one-stop shop service that Life Choice provides, how are they best to connect with Life Choice?
We've got a number of ways to connect. We acknowledge that many people have different communication methods and
Yes.
preferences, particularly because we're blessed to support people with a disability. So you're able to phone us, you're able to email us, you're able to find us on Instagram and Facebook, website, to walk in the door, any way you like. To find all of our contact details, our website is the best option, and it's a fully accessible website. So it's got our e-reader if you need the content read out to you. So it's www.lifechoice, lifechoicewbb.org. The org on the end is how you know that we're represented as a charity in Australia. So
Yeah.
if that doesn't work, of course, please just reach out to me and I can support you to find the best way to connect with your communication preference.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Jess. And if you didn't get that website, feel free to pause, rewind, write that down, and head onto the website and determine your best avenue for communication. Look, the organization Life Choice, as you've just heard, is a not-for-profit organization reinvesting back into the local area. Their executive management team and the board are just lit up to serve. And thank you so very much, Jess, for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me, Megan.
No, thank you so much. Okay, I will catch up with you soon.
Talk soon.
Okay, see ya.